Are two mini antique restorations. I'm calling these mini because they are shortened versions of full-length videos that I remix to give you examples of the type of restoration that I like to do. The first one is a shoeshine box that I got, oh, I actually can't remember. But what I'll do is I will link both of the mini restoration videos, the full-length versions, at the end, so that if you want to watch all of the activities and techniques, you can watch the full-length versions. But here, this little shoeshine box looks like a primitive piece, and it came full of brushes and old cans of polish. And right here, I'm probably thinking that I wonder if I bit off more than I could chew. Because you can see what terrible condition these little boxes are in. Now, if you go to the full-length version, I'll tell you where I got the box. But if you're interested, and it's just nailed together. It's very old, very dirty, because it's been used, And yeah, so what I'm going to do is take it all apart, and I'm going to do a restoration of this box. So right here, I didn't show you, but I have already bleached
what the heck is a
pieces
restoration?
with oxalic acid. And I say bleached, it's not really a bleach, but it will draw out the oils that are staining the wood pretty well. And when it's dried, you'll see that it looks a lot better. It's never going to be perfect. This is a restoration. Right here, I'm going to glue a really big crack in one of the side pieces. And as I clamp it together, I am going to notice that it's not really going to come together that tightly. And so what I end up doing is I end up mixing some wood fibers in with the glue just to fill in a lot of those holes. In here, I just keep a little. When I saw wood, I take the rest of the sawdust and keep it in a little container for future use. Yeah, and so I didn't show all the sanding and sanding and sanding, and I didn't fill every single crack or every single hole. I did go over it with a lot of shellac, and right here I am using some walrus oil, which is just a mild kind of a tongue oil, and I'm just going to let that seep in for a while. I'll give it a final finish of Howard's Citrus Shield wax. And here's the Howard's right here. And you can see how pretty it is. You can still see that there are dents. I don't fill every single hole, but I filled some of the holes with some of the sawdust. I put the nails back where they belonged, and I'm going to let that soak in, and then I'll buff it out till it's really, really nice and soft. And now it has a beautiful finish. Is it perfect? No, but here's the original. You can see how dirty it is. The clasp in the front didn't fit correctly, so I did straighten that out. And now you can see that I just took it and made it the best that it can be in its natural state. It's not perfect, it's a restoration. but look how pretty. It fits nice and tight. You can still see the crack, but it doesn't have any openings in it. And that clasp fits nice and straight in the front, and it's nice and cleaned up, no more rust. I even took down the brushes and gave them a nice sand, cleaned them up, and gave them a beautiful polish with some waxes, and you can see how good they look. I cleaned up the shoe polish cans, and I put a nice clean cloth on the bottom so that whoever opens it is going to find that it's nice and clean. There's nothing in these cans, it's just for show. But yeah, it's a restoration. All the saw marks are still there. You can see them right here. The second restoration is an antique child's chair, and it's a from Paris Manufacturing. The number is 830. I think that it might actually be a salesman's piece. I believe it's made out of oak, could have some elm substrates, but the main body is oak. It's very soiled, has some cracks in it, just kind of greasy and dirty, has some paint on it. It was in good condition though, in that it wasn't loose, so I didn't really have to do too much to the underneath. Now, I'm not showing you the entire restoration. I did clean it up as much as possible. I found that it had a little chunk missing on one of the legs. You can see that foreleg right here has a chunk missing out of it. I'm not going to use Bondo. I'm actually going to show that I'm doing a sensitive restoration in that I'm taking a piece of hardwood, I think this is birch, and I'm going to fill it in with this piece because the grain matches really well, and it's a nice hardwood, and yeah. So what I want to do here is I want to chisel it out so that it's flat, and that when I put my new piece in, it gets a good surface-to-surface bond. And I'm going to use a simple wood glue and to hold that together, let it dry, and I'm going to recarve it. So what is a restoration? I like to think of a restoration as more of a knee replacement rather than a facelift. So you can see the difference there. You know, we want to keep ambulating and keeping our body in health in as good a condition as we can. So we go for our checkups. We take good care of ourselves. We eat right, rest, and exercise. And if we do need something, we try to get medical attention when we need it. Now, does that mean a facelift? I mean, it could be, but that's not restoration. That would be refinishing. So your facelift, your tummy tuck, all those different kinds of surgeries that you have are less hip replacement or knee replacement than plastic surgery. So here you can see that I'm just cutting out a simple piece of hardwood so that I can form it to the a broken leg. As I say, if you want to see the entire restoration, I'll link it at the bottom. And also what I'll do, in the text below this video, I'll link the playlist for everything that I put under restoration. So if you're interested in learning more about restoration in full-length videos, I have several in there that you might be interested in. I have a set of antique doors, I have an old table, I did an MCM coffee table, lots and lots of things. They don't necessarily have to be antiques, but what my restoration means to me is that I bring it back to as good a condition as I can, reducing any big obvious breaks, but just kind of restoring that finish to as good as it can be, so it can live another 50 to 100 or 150 years. I made a little jig so that when I'm sawing, I won't hit my sanded wood here on the leg. It's just to protect the leg of the furniture. And this wasn't working too well for me, so I ended up getting my pull saw and using the pull saw to do it. Here you'll see that I use my little pull saw, and it's very sharp, and it works, cuts right through like butter. I do a little sanding with an orbital sander, and then I do some hand sanding as well. And I take it down till it has a really nice smooth finish. I really didn't have to put any traditional stain on this chair. I ended up creating some tinted shellac, and I'm going to show you that as well. Here you can just see me doing some details. Let's mix up some oxalic acid after we did all that sanding. And yeah, I'm going to mix it with some hot water. I don't need a lot. It's a little chair. So yeah. Here I'm putting on oxalic acid. I'm going to cover the entire surface, every part of the surface, so I don't get any unusual stains from the acid. And I will probably do 2 or 3 coats of this. You can see right away when you put it on, it starts to look oily, not because it's an oily product, but because it's drawing those stains, mostly oils. It's drawing the oils out of the wood. And here you can see it came out pretty good. I'm going to finish taking down my carving. Now, I could take all of that down with a sander, but I've done that before and I've actually dug a groove in rather than take it flat. So what I do is I use the chisel to take down the additional piece as much as possible before I sand it, so that I don't sand my reserve wood more than I want to. I actually enjoy doing this. I think it's a fun challenge. Here I'm just trying to get it as flat as possible, and I'm going to use a hand sander here, just a mouse sander, to take it down the rest of the way. And you can see how careful I'm going to be. I don't show it, but I go over it with some sandpaper by hand as well, and it came out pretty good. Nice grain matching. So that came out really good. We're going to have to see what that looks like after we get some color on it. Yeah. This is just clear shellac. I'll do a few coats like this, and then I'll start to do my color correction. I also sand it after the spray shellac. So here I have liquid shellac. I'm going to add just a little bit of denatured alcohol, and I'm going to add some raw umber pigment because I want to add a very modest dye. It's going to look like it's really, really dark, but it's not a strong finish. It's a very mild finish. You can see how modestly that it adds a little color to the natural wood, just barely. Now here, I don't show the entire refinish of that chunk of wood, but using a little bit of dye stain on the wood just to bring those in together. And it's a little more complicated than what I just showed, but that's basically what I do. And here you can see it looks pretty good. Yep. Here's what we had originally. And you can see it was dull and dirty and just not pretty anymore. Now look at that beautiful wood. That's a restoration. It's not perfect, but it took what we had and made it the best that it could be. And it really is quite lovely. Thank you for watching these videos. I hope you'll click the links at the end and consider watching the full videos below. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I wish you all good and beautiful things.